What up guys, JP back at you once again, bringing you guys another DVD slash Blu-ray slash VHS slash 4K update. It's been a little while as usual, but let's get into it. I hope you guys enjoyed what I picked up. So first up here, we're going to start with the VHS as we usually do. And the first film here is Moon of the Wolf. Picked it up for $1 at a video used sort of second-hand store type thing. I don't know, looks kind of not so good, but it you know, whatever. Good Times put this out. Not really too familiar with that label. I think I might have had a couple titles when I was a kid, but not really sure. The name sounds familiar. And then the only other VHS I got was from Carly, actually, my friend Carly. She got me Godzilla 1985, which I believe is the American version of Godzilla 1984. I actually did watch this and I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty fun Godzilla film. It was a little bit darker, which is the type of Godzilla films I like. So that's it for the VHS. Not a whole lot there, but I did grab two. And after that, let's get into some non-horror TV seasons. First up here we have Survivor, the complete 7th season, which is Pearl Islands. Probably one of my favorite seasons of the show from my memory. I think I watched it like twice. This was actually at a used movie store for years, and it was only there was prices before it, but it got down to $7.99. I don't know if you guys could see that. But they went out of business and they did everything like 60% off, so I got it for like $3 finally and said, what the hell. I'm a huge Survivor fan. I've been watching since day one. It's my favorite show, one of my favorite shows for sure. So I decided to pick it up, and I actually have like the CBS All Access, so they have all the seasons on there. It kind of defeats the purpose to own them physically. And a lot of them are really expensive because they're that like Amazon manufacture on demand, but I do own like maybe 4 or 5 seasons, which is cool, I guess. After that, I grabbed South Park Season 5. This was $5 at Big Lots. I really like South Park. I think most people do. I've always wanted to own all the seasons. I think I own the first 4 now. Maybe I'm missing the 4th one, but I own like the first 3, the 5th one, and then like a random season, like season, like 17 or something like that, which I have up there somewhere. So yeah, that's South Park. Then let's get into the DVDs. So that was all for the DVD seasons. The DVDs though, I picked up a bunch of stuff at that going out of business sale that they had at that used video store, which it does suck that place went out of business because I used to get a lot of stuff there. So we have Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King original movie. Big fan of Scooby-Doo. This is stuff that my niece will hopefully enjoy one day, so I've always kind of wanted to own like all the different iterations of Scooby-Doo and the different movies that have come out, so picked it up. It was like $1, so yeah. Case is in a little bit rough condition, but it's not too bad. Then we have, this case is in really rough condition, but I could always swap out the case. The disc didn't look too bad. The disc is not the best, but it should play. We have Komodo, which I remember catching on the Sci-Fi Channel. This again was one of those titles that was $1. So I picked up anything that looked semi-interesting for $1. And Komodo, I don't really remember it, but I remember thinking it was like not bad. It's an early 2000s, or actually 1999. Special effects, probably rough a little bit, but I'll probably check it out eventually. I used to love those, creature features that used to run on Sci-Fi Channel. Speaking of creature features that ran on Sci-Fi Channel, we have Lake Placid 3. The 3rd film in the Lake Placid series, and I don't think I own this one, at least I hope I didn't, but yeah, I picked it up. It is one that I actually don't think I minded too much. I have seen, I think, all 5 of the Lake Placid films. I think I like them all. They're not the best, but made for Sci-Fi Channel type movies. Then we have one that I've been wanting to revisit forever, and that is Darkness Falls. And again, all these titles that I got here are kind of rough cases, but I can swap them out as long as the discs play. Again, it was $1. I kind of wanted to hold off and grab this on Blu-ray eventually, but I just decided to go with the DVD for $1. It's a pretty good movie from what I remember, but it could be one of those movies that suffer from that, like, early 2000s, you thought it was good, and then you revisit it, and you're like, man, this movie's a mess, or this movie's not as good as I remember. So, we'll see. I do remember people thinking that it's, you know, kind of hated on it when it came out, but I actually liked it. Then we got After Dark Horror Fest 3, The Broken. Yeah, I can't even see it because of the dang sticker on it, but I like collecting these. I don't own them all, but I slowly pick them up. And again, that's kind of all for the rough cases ones, but they were only $1, so it was worth the shot, I guess. Then we got some titles here. We have Cupid. I picked this up at Walmart just because it looked kind of cool. I wish I would have grabbed it before Valentine's Day, but I didn't. So maybe I'll check this one out next Valentine's Day. It seems to be set on Valentine's Day. Probably pretty bad, but you never know. Sometimes you can find those Walmart titles that actually end up being pretty decent, even though they look bad. Then I grabbed Lars von Trier's Melancholia, which I knew nothing about. This was $1 at the Dollar Tree, which I've been finding titles there lately. So they're few and far between, but when I find something, $1 is hard to pass up any movie that I'm interested in. So those cheaps. I don't know much about that, but I do like Lars von Trier. Then we have a title I picked up for like $3 at Walmart, and that is Big Legend, a Bigfoot film. Ever since I watched The Legend of Boggy Creek for the like 3rd time in my life, it was like the last time I watched it when I was doing the 1976 show on 22 Shots, I have like found a new love for Bigfoot movies. So this one, who knows? I mean, actually, this cover is pretty cool. I do like this cover, but it's probably not a good movie. I mean, the back doesn't look so good, but I'm kind of a sucker for Bigfoot films now. What can I say? Non-horror here, I grabbed Cheech and Chong, Cheech and Chong's next movie, and Cheech Marin in Born in East L.A. I really like Cheech and Chong's next movie, Born in East L.A. I've actually never seen that, but pretty cool double pack here for I think $3.70 or something, $3.70 at Walmart. I don't collect a whole lot of non-horror, but some films that I grew up watching, like Cheech and Chong's next movie, I kind of want to watch all the Cheech and Chong's again. After that, got some more titles that I picked up at that used video store going out of business, 60% off. This was $4 minus 60%, so like, $1 something. And that is Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. I think that I might own this film, so I'm kind of mad that I picked it up again. I can't remember. I need to look through my collection and see if I actually own it. My collection's like all out of order right now. It's not in alphabetical order, so that's a goal this year, to get my collection back under control and in order. But Anaconda's, I actually like Anaconda's too. I saw it in the drive-in when I was a kid, and I actually really enjoyed it. Found another Dimension Extreme film, and that is Hell Ride. Also 60% off at that store. It was $5 minus 60%. Don't know much about it. It looks like some biker type movie, and probably exploitation. Quentin Tarantino presents. Maybe it's going after that like grindhouse type vibe. But yeah, it looks, the cover actually looks cool. So that's one. I do want to try to eventually get all the Dimension Exchange. They're getting a little bit hard to find. There's some titles that were like a little bit more obscure and rare that you didn't see a lot, that are kind of going for a little bit higher prices now. So don't have much more time to grab them before they're unreasonably priced. But after that, same store, Cheech and Chong's Still Smoking. This is why I bought that double pack, because I picked this up. This is a good one too. Up in Smoke, Still Smoking, next movie. Those are probably my favorites. Nice Dreams is decent. Cheech and Chong's Still Smoking. Pretty fun. After that, we have The Butterfly Effect 2. I'm actually curious to check this out. I've never seen it. I've loved the first Butterfly Effect with Ashton Kutcher. But Butterfly Effect 2, I don't know. I mean, if it's the same type of story, I'll probably enjoy it, but I've always kind of been curious on that one. There's a third one, too, that was part of the 8 Films to Die For. After that, I picked this up, Intervision. I actually want to get more Intervision titles. I think I only own 2 other ones. And this one is Murder Lust. This movie was really decent. It was a film that came out in 1985, and it has a pretty decent story. It's like a serial killer. Reminds you of like Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, or Confessions of a Serial Killer, which came out this same year. It also has a bonus film, Project Nightmare. So I haven't watched that yet, but I will check it out eventually. Then we have a film titled Djinn, which I actually thought that this was Tobe Hooper's Djinn, but it is not, in fact. So that's why I picked it up, because I was like, oh, I don't own Tobe Hooper's last film. I should pick it up. This is not it. This is another genie movie, I guess, which I do like genie movies and like be careful what you wish for stuff, so maybe I'll like it, but probably not. I don't know how I made that mistake. Next up, we got some Big Lots titles. We have Hard Ride to Hell. It was $1.88, so I was like, what the hell, you know what I mean? This one looks like a biker film, too. I'm a sucker for picking up movies cheap, man. If it's a horror movie, I'll probably pick it up if it's under $2 or even $3. After that, we have Dread Central Presents Monsterland. Don't know much about it, but, you know, looks alright. Then we have a film. I remember seeing this all the time, and this is Dead Tone. This was a film direct-to-video in, like, the mid-2000s, I think. For whatever reason, it says Flavor Flav's Night Tales. Now, I know I own Flavor Flav's Night... Here it is, actually. This film right here, it's called Night Tales, and it's got Flavor Flav in it. So, was this like part of this or something? I don't know. That actually made me kind of curious, but Dead Tone. After that, we have Red House, which is... Excuse me. I swear I don't have the coronavirus, I swear. Just kind of dusty up there. Red House looks like a slasher. This house reminds me of like the Chainsaw remake house, but I doubt it is. That would be cool though if it was. Let me scoot these over. Then we have this one. Oh man, some of these are probably so bad. Oh my god, why did I buy these? $1.88 again. Big Lots Revelation Trail. It looks like a Western zombie film. I like Western horror films. It's probably not good, but I picked it up anyway. Speaking of not good, these are probably definitely not good. Like, what the hell is this? High Plains Invaders. It looks like again, a Western. Oh man, the CGI is rough in these. I've seen some of these Maneater films. This is from the Maneater series. I've always wanted to grab the whole collection, but boy, some of these films are rough. This one's probably no exception. Some more roughness here, it looks like. We have Eye of the Beast. I mean, look at this thing. It's an octopus. Killer octopus movie. Or squid. I don't really know. But James Van Der Beek is in this. Look at the back of that. I punish myself sometimes. But then again, half of these things I never watch, and that's become a problem. After that, another film. I actually picked this up. I already owned it, so I gave my old copy to Carly, and that is Lovely Molly. This is a film from Eduardo Sanchez. It's actually pretty damn good. It's a good movie. So I accidentally picked it up twice, but at least I was able to give my copy to somebody else. After that, we have Sea Beast. Again, what am I doing? I know I picked up a lot of these this time, but this one is like coming off. Oh boy, that looks rough. I should start watching some of these. My goal this year, I made a promise to myself that I was going to watch double the films that I bought because I have so many titles in my collection that are unwatched. It's disgusting. So right away, I'm already screwed. So I'm gonna count these after I'm done, and then I've been keeping what I've been watching from my collection in another spot, and I have to double it. So I gotta stop buying stuff. After that, we have Dragon Wasps from Macabre, the Macabre label that they did by Exhilarator. Looks horrible, but I like those killer animal films. Speaking of killer animals, Sand Serpents. Now, I think I've watched this one. This is also from the Maneater series. This one actually looks a little kind of fun. Alright, after that we have The Deaths of Ian Stone. And this is a 8 Films to Die For. I don't think I own that one. I don't think I do. Sometimes I accidentally pick, or can never remember which ones I own. The Deaths of Ian Stone. I want to say this is the second series of 8 Films to Die For, which I think is better than, I think it's the first is the best, second is second best, and then I think the fourth is better than the third, if my memory is right. I've seen a couple of the films. After that we have The Substitute, and I don't even know why I picked this up. I have no idea. Oh, it's a ghost house. That's why I picked it up on the side, a ghost house. I like picking up these ghost house, Dimension Extreme, After Dark films, Bloody Disgusting Selects, all those things. I've always wanted to own a bunch of them, like the whole collections, but they're kind of hard to find sometimes. After that we have a film called Little Joe. This is a newer film. I haven't watched it yet. Looks kind of weird. Alright, so I think that, yep, that is it for the DVDs. So let's move on to the Blu-rays. So first up here, Blu-rays, I have a TV series Blu-ray that's in the shape of a VHS box. And that is Stranger Things. On Blu-ray here, it's pretty cool. Look, it's, you know, it looks like a VHS and stuff. I dig that. That's neat. At first I thought it was a VHS, and I was like, I'm definitely buying that, but it's not. It's actually a little too big to be a VHS, unless it was, I guess, a big box or like a medium box. But yeah, only at Target, Target exclusive. It was actually very cheap. It was only $10 for season 1 of Stranger Things. So I decided to, you know, give it a try. I do like Stranger Things. It's not my favorite. Like I didn't obsess over it like everybody else. And I've only seen the first season, but I did like it. Eventually want to continue on with it. This was too hard to pass up. It was $5. I was always hoping for some kind of like super cool special edition, like from Scream Factory or one of those companies, Arrow or something. But it just looks like it's not happening anytime soon. Watch, tomorrow it'll get announced. But The Lost Boys, one of my all-time favorite films, probably top 20, an amazing movie. Corey Haim Feldman, Kiefer Sutherland in here, great movie. I haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I'll pop this in today. Really like The Lost Boys. It's the all-time favorite of mine. Didn't own it on Blu-ray. I've actually, my DVD is I don't think it's over here, but it's oh, there it is. If I could grab it. This is pointless, but it's the old Snapper Case edition. So that's what I've been rocking with The Lost Boys this entire time. So I upgraded. After that we have Mandy. And Mandy, this was like, I think under $5 for the Blu-ray. So I decided to scoop it up. RLJ Entertainment. I liked it enough. I wasn't crazy about it like some people were, but it was good. After that, we have Krampus. I didn't own this on Blu-ray. I owned it on DVD. Decided to pick it up. It was also in that sale that was like, I think it was like $3. So great movie. I've actually came around more and more on it each time I've watched it. Very, very, very atmospheric Christmas horror film. It might be the most atmospheric Christmas horror film out there. Then we have another title that I owned already. And I think I paid like $3 for this one, and that is The Fourth Kind. Again, I'll give this one to Carly or something. I'm getting very annoyed. If I get my collection in order, I do have one of those apps where you can scan it in and like look on your phone and see if you own the title. I need to start doing that, because I'll be standing there at these places, I'm like, I can't remember if I own that or not. You know, I'm like, I can't remember. I thought I owned this one, but I ended up not owning it, and that is Piranha. Can't believe I didn't own this film. I actually really like this remake. So yeah, wanted to check it out. And then we have, I think this is this the original? No, this is Black Sun. I don't know. See, now I might even own this. Not even sure. This is Outpost Black Sun. I own the first Outpost on DVD, and then I'm pretty sure that I have Rise of the Spetsnaz. I think this is the third or second one. I'm not sure. I don't think I own this, but hopefully I didn't. I'm not sure. I don't know. After that, we have a couple of, I hit up a sale, Warner Archive, and we have, I love Warner Archive. I've picked up most of the horror films that they've released. Just going to grab them every time they have a sale, because I love Warner Archive. The titles that they release are so awesome. And first up here, one that I've always wanted to see. This is a title that I could not wait to see. I remember people always talking about it on the early days of YouTube. It's like hidden gems, or like films not on DVD. And that is Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. This is the film that inspired Guillermo del Toro to remake it. And it is the 1973 TV film, directed by James Newland. I've always wanted to see this. This is a high priority watch for me. I'm going to watch this soon. Alright, after that we have The Cyclops, 1956 or so. You know, I like those 50s monster movies. I've been wanting to check out more and more of them as I get them. So that's The Cyclops. And continuing along here with the Warner Archive titles, we have The Fearless Vampire Killers. Now, I did grab these in the recent 4 for $44 Warner Archive sale, which is the way to grab these Warner Archive titles, because they can be a little bit pricey, but if you wait for that sale, there's usually a couple a year. I always buy usually, you know, 6, but, you know, sometimes I'll only get 4, but, you know, $11 a piece, you really can't pass up these Warner Archive titles. I have a lot of them now. There's only a handful of horror films that I still don't own from them, that are on Blu-ray, that is. So The Fearless Vampire Killers here, directed by Roman Polanski, which actually kind of shocked me. I thought this was going to be like a Hammer Dracula film, or a vampire film, you know, British vampire film or something, just based on the cover, you know, that it came out in the 70s and stuff. But this is actually, I believe, a comedy directed by Roman Polanski. It could be like spoofing those type of films, or, you know, a satire or something. It kind of intrigued me. I'm not super familiar with Polanski's filmography. Like, I know The Tenant and Repulsion and, you know, Rosemary's Baby, the Apartment trilogy, and I've seen a couple of his other films, but not huge into his filmography, so it actually kind of shocked me that he did this film. But hey, it looks kind of cool, so definitely check it out. After that, we have The Witches, and I've actually never seen this film. I remember seeing the VHS cover all the time as a kid in a specific video store, but I never pulled the trigger on it. I think this is geared more towards children, but I've always heard that this film is quite dark for being, you know, aimed at that demographic, so that intrigues me. That is The Witches. I believe it's from the 90s. After that, we have From Beyond the Grave, and I have seen this title before. I own it on DVD. It was part of the Twisted Terror collection that Warner Brothers put out years and years ago. Probably one of my favorite box sets because of the titles included. From Beyond the Grave was the one that kind of stood out as like the weird title a little bit. I think it's an Amicus anthology, which the other films were, it had like Dr. Giggles in it and stuff. It was a very weird collection, but very good. It also had a John Carpenter and a Wes Craven film in that collection. I think most of those titles have been released on Blu-ray now, except for maybe Dr. Giggles. I can't really remember. But From Beyond the Grave, pretty fun. Donald Pleasance. Haven't seen it in a long time, so looking forward to the revisit. And then one of the main reasons I hopped on the 4 for $44 sale, and that is Wait Until Dark. Now, Wait Until Dark is a film that I actually just recently watched like 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. It's a suspense thriller, but has some horror elements to it. It follows this blind lady and these criminals who are basically trying to trick her because they believe she has this doll stuffed with heroin. The ending gets very, scary, and I think it pushes it into the horror territory. It is super thrilling, very suspenseful, reminds me of a Hitchcock film in a way. Wait Until Dark is very good. If you've never seen it, definitely check it out. I believe it came out in '67, I want to say. But definitely pick that up if you've never seen it. After that, I have an arrow here. I decided to pull the trigger on The Hills Have Eyes Part 2. I did have a gift card, and I was like, you know what? It looks so similar to the first Hills Have Eyes box set that Arrow put out. It's not the best movie, but I kind of want to see it. And funny enough, I actually really enjoyed revisiting it. I did not. I've always considered this one of Wes Craven's worst films, but after watching it, I actually liked it. It reminds me of, Wes Craven doing a slasher film, like his interpretation of like a Friday the 13th or something. And it actually, it's not great, but it's fun at least. And that's a pretty cool box set from Arrow there. Then here I have a Blue Underground. I got House by the Cemetery sent in for review. I did do a review on this title. What an awesome release this is. I've definitely, watching it this time, appreciate Lucio Fulci's House by the Cemetery a little bit more. The first time I seen it, I just thought it was like decent, but nothing special. I definitely appreciate it more watching it this time, which is like most Fulci films. I usually like them more as time goes on, or with repeat viewings. After that, we have an Artsploitation title, and it is titled We. Artsploitation, We. It's a pretty decent movie. It reminds me, and it is described as Kids or a Harmony Korine film. It definitely kind of fits that bill. It's from the Netherlands. It's about a bunch of youths who are having sex and doing prostitution, getting into illegal stuff, and creating chaos. And there's actually this version of the film, the unrated director's edition, actually has real penetration in it too. So if that bugs you, steer clear of it. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. Then we have Takashi Miike's First Love, his newest film. Yeah, probably not. He probably directed like 3 more since this came out. But Certified Fresh from Rotten Tomatoes. It's a good movie. It follows. It was a little while ago since I seen it, but it's like a Yakuza person, a pro boxer, a prostitute, crooked cop. It follows all these different people and their stories intertwined and stuff like that. And yeah, it was pretty decent. I really enjoyed it. Then I was at Walmart and I picked this up for $5. I actually watched it today, and I actually thought it was fairly decent, surprisingly. And that is Jeepers Creepers 3. I've heard nothing but bad things about this film, but I really wanted to give it a shot because I recently watched Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, and this was only $5 at Walmart, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to grab it and give it a shot. And I actually really ended up liking it. I didn't think it was bad, I really enjoyed the continuity in the film. It has more continuity than most sequels that come out so long later. It probably helps that Victor Salva directed it. If you don't know who that is, steer clear. But I do enjoy some of the films he makes. And this one, definitely a huge step down from Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. But considering the budget, I thought it was kind of decent. There was some script issues, and I think the budget definitely held it back the most. But other than that, I thought it was an alright film. Alright, so moving on here, I got a couple of arrows. We have Blood Harvest. Carly actually got these got me these for Christmas, I believe. And yeah, Blood Harvest. This one, I think this is the one with Tiny Tim in it, I believe, which is just weird. I've never seen this film, but it looks kind of cool, man. I mean, it looks cool. I hear it's pretty bad, but it looks cool. Then we have a film called Star Time, and this just looks cool too. I don't know, it's just a weird cover and stuff. I love Vinegar Syndrome. They put out the funnest type of movies. And then we have this one, looks pretty... Oh man, this one looks great. With the Suckling, and this one has the cool, slip cover too. So that is the Suckling. The Suckling. And then this one, I've actually seen this one. This is There's Nothing Out There. and this is actually a trauma film, and it's actually pretty decent. It's like a meta type horror film from the 90s. So, and I think it came out before Scream too. So, pretty interesting. A little underrated. Not many people talk about this one. And then we have Wacko, which is a spoof film from the 80s. It's a horror spoof. It's pretty fun. 1981 or 1982, I think. I enjoyed it. I've seen it before. It's a little ahead of its time. And then finally, actually not finally for the Vinegar Syndromes, but we have Blood Theater, which I have no idea what this film is. I didn't even know they released this film. Like the other ones I'd known about, and then when she gave me this stack, I was like, huh, this is one that I don't even remember them announcing. So, yeah, Vinegar Syndrome. I love Vinegar Syndrome. It's probably my favorite label out there right now. And not that they necessarily release the best movies, but they release the best transfers on movies that are just weird. They just release weird titles, like stuff that nobody else would think to release. Most of the time you watch them and they're not the best movies, but they all have this like charming quality to them because like they're just, it's like the preservation of like history almost. It just feels interesting to see these films cleaned up so well. Except for Hobgoblins. That one just legitimately sucks. But after that, we have another Takashi Miike film. I love this cover for whatever reason. It's just so cool and appealing to look at. But I've wanted to see this film for a little while. And that is Blade of the Immortal. This is, I believe, Takashi Miike's 100th film. So I wanted to check it out for a while. Glad to finally pick it up. Looks pretty cool. Samurai. Awesome. Yeah, the 100th film from Takashi Miike. Then we have good old Reservoir Dogs, my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie. Finally picked it up on Blu-ray, so very happy to own that. It is a fantastic movie. I absolutely love the setup. I love the way the story's told. I love the characters. The scene with who is it? Michael Madsen, where he's the stuck in the middle with you, like that song's playing. Oh, dude, I remember seeing that. That shocked me when I first seen it. Alright, after that we have Amityville Awakening. I just hadn't ever picked this up. I actually like this movie. It's pretty decent. It has Ian from Shameless in it. And this was one that was like put on the shelf for like the longest time because I think it was produced by Dimension. And Lionsgate eventually released it after that whole Harvey Weinstein thing went down. After that we have probably, honestly, like the worst cover of last year. And that is Critters Attack. Like, look at the hand. Like, does that look like Chucky's hand or like a doll hand or something? It is so poorly designed. It's completely ridiculous. The critters look bad. I mean, this case is horrendous. It's atrocious. I actually liked this movie. I thought it was pretty decent, but this cover is god-awful. After that, we have mid-90s. One of my favorite films of... not last year, it was the year before, I believe. But yeah, one of my favorite films of that year. Just great, fantastic. Jonah Hill directed. If you grew up in the 90s, it has a lot of flair of the 90s. And honestly, like, I grew up skateboarding, so this was a perfect film for me. So loved it. It was fantastic. After that, we have Hostel and Hostel Part 2. I own both of these on DVD, but I saw this double feature and I was like, what? I'm totally going to grab this. Both of them are the unrated director's cuts too, which is pretty cool. I got this at Dollar General, and it was, or not Dollar General, Dollar Tree. It was $1. Don't pick up a lot of these, but I do like Westerns. I just don't want to start collecting other things. But this is Clint Eastwood in Hang 'em High. MGM release here. I've never seen this, or I might have. See, the thing with Westerns is I watched a lot of them growing up with my pap. Like, he would have them on all the time, and I never knew what they were. But, I'll throw one on, and about like 20 minutes into it, I'll be like, oh, I remember seeing this one before, but I never remember the titles. After that, we have Into the Storm. This was $1 at Dollar Tree too, and honestly, like, this is probably horrible. I'll probably, like, this is so down on like my watch list that it's just like I don't know why I do this to myself and buy this stuff, but I do. And then finally for the Blu-rays, we have the, I almost dropped it, the Amityville box set from Vinegar Syndrome. Carly got me this for Christmas, which I thought was amazing. And it has, they're probably all out of order because I recently watched them. Yeah, so we have Amityville, The Evil Escapes, which is Amityville 4. We have Amityville, A New Generation, which I believe is Amityville 5. And then we have Amityville 1992, which I think is Amityville 7, because this box set didn't have the Amityville Curse, which I guess is unofficially an Amityville film. And then we have Amityville Dollhouse, which is Amityville 8, I believe. I like all 4 of these. I thought they were all fun. This is probably one of my favorite things that I own right now. I really enjoyed going through these films, and honestly, like, these films were very hard to get. They were out of print, like, heavily, and Vinegar Syndrome did a phenomenal job on this box set. The box set feels good. I like the way that it's stored. The discs are nice. It's just I like the covers that they chose. Just a very good job from Vinegar Syndrome on that box set. It's an amazing set. I really love it. Now let's get into the 4Ks, which I don't have a ton here. But first up, we have Mayhem, and this was a Joe Lynch film. I actually really enjoyed this film when it came out. It was, you know, it's sort of one of those, like, infected type movies where, like a virus, and just, you know, ultra violent and stuff like that. Certified fresh by Rotten Tomatoes. It is a 4K that I got for $9, I think, or was it $11? I can't really remember. There was a couple titles that were really cheap at Walmart when they did this last rearrange thing. That was one of them. Then we have Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich. I can't believe this is on 4K. RLJ Entertainment does the 4Ks. I was actually thinking about popping this one in soon. But this was a really fun reimagining of the Puppet Master series. Pretty cool that it's on 4K. I wish I had the slipcover, which I do not. Then we have The Color Out of Space, which has a great, fantastic little slipcover on here. I thought this one was, like, just decent. I didn't love it. It was alright. But yeah, Color Out of Space. Then we have Jigsaw, which I didn't own this yet. This is the last Saw film until the newest one, that's Spiral, that's about to come out. But yeah, that is the 4K digital Saw film. I honestly liked it. I liked it. Then we have Quiet Place, which is also certified fresh. 4K here. Pretty excited to kind of revisit this one. I haven't seen it since it came out, so I want to see if it holds up, see how good it looks on 4K. And then we have Brawl in Cell Block 99. This was on the cheap. I think, dude, I think this was like $7 or something. But yeah, I remember everybody, like, loving this film, but I haven't seen it yet, so pretty interested to check that one out. And then finally for this update, guys, we have Joker, which was fantastic. Probably my favorite non-horror film of last year. Really good. And I wasn't excited for it. I saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, it looks alright. Like, I don't know why everybody's blowing it, but I ended up loving it the most. So yeah, that is Joker. So pretty excited to revisit that one. I'll probably wait a little while, but yeah, so that's the update, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. My 4K collection is definitely growing. If you guys have upgraded to 4K, let me know what you guys think. If you guys, you know, let me know what you think about the titles that I picked up, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.